my friends. Welcome back to another story in the Read Aloud series. I'm Miss Henry from the Elmwood Park Branch Library. Today for you, I found a book called Giant Hiccups. Do you see a giant there? Well, this person looks like a giant only because these people look so much smaller. Has any one of you ever seen a giant? Or somebody really super tall? I haven't, so I'm excited to see what happens with this giant in this story. So this story is written by Jackie Farrelly and illustrated by Pamela Venus. Giant Hiccups. Once, at the top of a huge hill, stood a small town where many people lived and worked. At the bottom of the hill loomed an enormous dwelling where a giant lived. Okay, so we can only see just a part of the dwelling. It goes up and continues to go up, and we could just keep looking up. That's where the giant lived. So this is a town that was home to a giant. The giant was called, guess what? Aisha. She never bothered the townspeople, but spent her days quietly. She made cups and plates and pots and pans. She made rainbow lollipops and pineapple jam. So those are the things she made, different jams. And there's a giant, Giant Aisha. Pretty giant, isn't she, guys? I think so. Suddenly one day, the ground shook and a dreadful noise filled the air. It sounded like 100 dinosaurs falling out of bed. Just imagine those huge dinosaurs and go doom, ba-doom, ba-doom, doom, doom. Tons and tons of dinosaurs falling out of bed. I wonder what that sound is. We know there's a giant, and suddenly there's a really loud sound, and the ground is shaking. So I think it has something to do with the giant. What do you think? Let's see. Hiccup! The small town on the hill trembled, it shuddered and shook. In the houses, everything rattled. One young man wobbled crazily along the road on his bicycle. So things are just falling. And there is a hiccup. I wonder what is causing that hiccup. I wonder who is having hiccups. Do you think it could be the giant, guys? I think so. Hiccup! The children in school held onto their tables to stop them falling over. Books flew. Somebody's having hiccups, and every time there's a hiccup, books are flying all over the place, the desks are toppling. Hiccup! The statue of the mayor fell off its pedestal. People hurried from everywhere and met in the square. What can it be, they called. What's happening, they cried. Have you and I figured it out? I think you and I have figured out what's going on. There's a statue of the mayor falling onto the ground because every time there's a hiccup, things fall, things break, things are out of place. So everybody's running to the town square. All the people in this small town. It's an earthquake, said some. What do you think? We have to get off the hill, said the parents taking charge. They all joined hands and began to walk down the hill. Because now they're thinking that it's an earthquake. Do you think we're the only ones knowing that there's a hiccup each time? Hiccup! They all slid head over heels right down to the bottom of the hill. Whee! Shouted the children. It's a slide! So in spite of the anxiety, nobody knowing what's going on, the kids were having fun. Ha! Look at this little one here, sliding down on her mommy. That looks like fun. He's having a good time. Whee! Down they go to the bottom of the hill. Suddenly, there was another ground-shaking hiccup, and the giant came out of her house. "Hey, you up there!" the milk carrier cried. "You're creating a terrible disturbance. Stop it at once!" "Our homes are on the hill," shouted one of the townspeople. "Your hiccuping is destroying our town." So I guess they finally figured out that it was the hiccuping that was causing all the disturbances, milk carrier. And look, there's our giant Aisha. See how big she is? And they're asking her, "Please, can you stop?" "Hiccup," said the giant apologetically. "Perhaps we should give her a drink of water," suggested one lady. Glug, 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 glug. Aisha drank it all. There she is. Oh, pretty giant Aisha. Let's see if that works. Does that work for you when you have hiccups? It doesn't work for me. Hiccup! Uh-oh, guess it didn't work. "Let's give her a fright," the baker whispered to the milk carrier. The milk carrier whispered to the lady next to him. The children whispered to each other. They passed it on until everyone knew what to do. What do you think they're going to do? They all shouted in their loudest voices, "Boo!" So they tried to give her a fright, and that would perhaps jolt her out of her hiccups. Let's see if that worked. Hiccup! Uh-oh, guess it didn't, said the giant. Miss Wiggins, the school teacher, made a suggestion. "Try holding your breath for as long as you can," she called up to the giant. Aisha held her breath and held it and held it and held it for so long. She had to breathe out with a gigantic whoosh. "I wish I had brought my kite," laughed Tunde. There is Miss Aisha the giant holding it until she couldn't hold it anymore, and whoosh, a big gust of air. So Tunde figured he could have successfully flown his kite. So that didn't work. So they tried giving her water, that didn't work. They tried to give her a fright, that didn't work. They suggested that she hold her breath, that didn't work. But hiccup, said the giant sadly. So that didn't work, we know. No one knew what to do next. Then some children from Miss Wiggins' class put up their hands. "Maybe she's hungry," said Carol Louise. "I sometimes get hiccups when I'm hungry," agreed Ben. "Hiccup," said the giant. "We might as well try your idea," said Miss Wiggins. So Miss Wiggins' students are throwing out different suggestions. And the suggestion was that perhaps the giant was hungry. So with nothing else to try, Miss Wiggins said, "Hey, let's try it." So Miss Wiggins' kids are using their noggins. All the townspeople scrambled off in different directions. Some collected woods from the forest to make a huge fire. Others went to the fields and collected vegetables. The fire brigade poured water into Aisha's pot. Aisha put in her favorite spices and tried very hard not to hiccup too loudly. So everybody's coming together to work together, a unified community. And everybody has their different job. Some collecting wood, others collecting fruits and vegetables. Because everybody needs to get rid of the giant's hiccups. Delicious, Miss Aisha the giant said. "Thank you." Well, if she were a giant, she'd go like this. "Delicious, thank you." Because she's so much bigger, right? Then everybody noticed something. The hiccuping had stopped. Suddenly, there was a tiny hiccup. "Oh, Ben, are you ready for lunch?" said Aisha. "Making giant vegetable stew is a hungry business. I'm sure there's enough to share." Ah, there's Aisha the giant. And there's her bowl with her food, and there are the townspeople. And somewhere among this group of people, there was just this tiny hiccup. Because Beno was hungry. And Aisha the giant is going to share. And guess what? There was enough food for everybody, including the giant. Yeah. So Ben isn't hungry anymore. And together they solved the problem of Aisha's hiccups. Right. Giant hiccups. Not teeny tiny hiccups. Teeny tiny hiccups just sort of make a little sound. But giant hiccups disturb a whole town, topple everything upside down, get the mayor statue crashed to the ground. This was good. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's meet again in the Read Aloud series. All right, guys. Bye.